week we were discussing about the oxidation state and oxidation number. So let me just revise those rules once. So the first one was that whenever we are taking the oxidation number of any free element, as in we have taken any element in its standard state, the oxidation number that we are going to assign for that is always 0. And the maximum oxidation number for any element will be almost equal to its group number. Yeah, basically the group number, it's the number of valence electron that those are possible over there. So we can just take it as the number of valence electron that will be maximum possible to be as the oxidation number. And minimum will be given by the group number -8, that is valence electron -8 is more appropriate. And that was only applicable for p block elements. And here the oxidation number of few elements is always fixed. So as in alkali metals, you can try answering this so that it will be more easy for working out questions today. What will be the fixed oxidation number for alkali metals? Yes, please be specific whether it's plus, minus, or whatever it is. Yeah, good. I am being very specific asking you for alkali metals. See, alkali metals will always have a fixed oxidation number, so you can just answer 1. It should not be a range of values. Yeah, good. So yes, it will be as +1. And the others which are having fixed oxidation numbers are alkali metals, and then we also have it as alkaline earth metals. So what do they have? What will be the fixed oxidation number for alkaline earth metals? Guys, please be specific whether it's plus, minus. Good. Okay. Listen here. Group 1, this is group 1. Okay, so your doubt is what is the difference here? And these are group 2 elements. See here, group 1 elements are commonly known as alkali metals. See, moreover, like if you just take any of the elements of alkali metals, let it be like sodium or potassium, if taken in water, it will be the hydroxide which is being formed, which is alkali. That will be as an alkaline, that will be having alkaline nature. Similarly, for group 2 elements also, if they are taken in water, they are found to be alkaline. But here an additional term, that is earth, is being used because mostly the elements which are falling under this particular group, they are found in earth's crust. So hence, to easily differentiate between group 1 and group 2, we just name the group 1 elements to be as alkali metals and group 2 elements as alkaline earth metals. Yeah, good. So yes, they'll be having the fixed oxidation number to be as +2. Okay, which is the most electronegative element in the whole periodic table, and what is the oxidation number for that? No, you can't say it that way. Like if at all I want salts like sodium chloride, moreover it will be like the salts, like that is being found in the salt form. So here I'm being specific, telling you earth's crust, not telling you just earth. Okay, that's what is the difference here. So it will be as earth's crust. Good. So that is the most electronegative in the whole periodic table is fluorine, and that will be having the oxidation number to be as -1. And we have already come across the total oxidation number due to every element present in a neutral compound is always equal to 0. It means if the whole compound is nowhere carrying any charge, it should be as neutral. Or if at all we are trying to calculate the oxidation number for any ion, then we have to make sure that it is equal to the charge what it carries. And for hydrogen, what are the two possible oxidation numbers? For hydrogen, what are the two possible oxidation numbers? Good. It will be as +1 and -1. So we'll mostly take it as -1 whenever it is combining with metals. And other than metals, we'll just take it to be as +1. So this is how we have fixed for hydrogen. And here coming for oxygen. See, for oxygen, the most common oxidation number, we'll find it to be as -2. But we do have exceptions, like in case of peroxides. Can you tell me what will be the oxidation number of oxygen in case of peroxides, which will be existing in this form? What will be the oxidation number for peroxides? Like in case of peroxides, oxygen will be having it as what is alkaline metal? See here, all the metals, whenever we are taking in water, they are forming hydroxides, which are having alkaline nature. Hence, we just say it as alkali or alkaline. But the second group elements, they are found in Earth's crust. Being very specific, it's Earth's crust, just not Earth. So hence, they are just named as alkaline earth metals. Yeah, good. So here, see, it's not or, like you can't say it as -1 or -1/2. It's just as -1 in case of peroxides. Whereas in case of superoxides, what will be the oxidation number of oxygen here? Yeah, good. Good. So it will be as -1/2. Apart from this, we'll also find that oxygen will also show an exception even in the cases of when it is combining with oxygen. So in the cases of dioxygen difluoride or in the case of oxygen difluoride, oxygen will be having positive oxidation state. So it will be having a positive value. Okay, so the next rule that we have to continue with is rule for nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur and halogens. See, in any of these elements, if they are present in a binary compound along with hydrogen, okay, the previous slide, okay, just try to make it a little fast. These were just the things what we have already covered in the last class. And today's questioning everything just depends on what you have really understood the last class and today's class. Okay, so what's your doubt? So it's not always okay. In that case, please, you have to see there as O2 that is having like 2 plus. So it's already in the correct form. You can't say that it's not balanced. Sometimes it exists in this form and sometimes it will be existing in this form. So these are the forms in which they exist. But remember, fluorine is always having a fixed value of -1 in both the cases. So I have no other option than putting a positive oxidation number for oxygen. That's what happens over there. So whenever we find these elements in a binary compound, especially with hydrogen or metals, then their oxidation state is found to be fixed. Example, okay, let me ask you a question. What will be the oxidation number of nitrogen in this? In magnesium nitride, what will be the oxidation number of nitrogen in this? Okay, you want the examples of halogens? You can write this down. So these are halogens: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. These are known as halogens. Yeah, you can try to answer what will be the oxidation number of nitrogen in magnesium nitride. Okay. Not everyone has answered it correctly. See here, I just told you that alkali metals and the elements which are present in alkaline earth metals have a fixed oxidation number. and magnesium is an element which belongs to alkaline earth metals. So hence magnesium will be having a fixed oxidation number, which I'll take it as +2. But this is something, the oxidation number of nitrogen, I don't know. So see how you have to solve is, +2 is the oxidation number, that is a fixed oxidation number for magnesium. And how many magnesiums do I have here is 3. So it's +2 into 3, and then it is plus, because as I don't know the oxidation number of this nitrogen, I'll take it as X. But how many nitrogens are there is 2X. So the overall thing, this we are finding it to be as a neutral compound. Now, what will it be? Solve this and tell me the value of X. Just solve this and give the value of X. That will be the answer for the oxidation number of nitrogen. So this is how you have to proceed. Please be specific with the sign. See, nitrogen is more electronegative, so make sure that it is having a negative oxidation number. See here, it's 2X, which will be equals to -6. So X will be equals to -6/2, which is equals to -3. So nitrogen will be having -3 as its oxidation number in this case. Similarly, try to answer for phosphorus in pH 3. For phosphorus in the case of pH 3. Don't just give the number, please also give the sign, whether positive or negative. Okay, let me clear your confusion. I think this is something we have already talked about in the last class. See, normally what we'll be observing is, whenever a compound is being formed, we'll take the cationic part first and then we take the anionic part. But remember, few exceptions, like these are just by convention. It doesn't mean like, okay, there's a specific rule here. No, it's just by convention. Examples like ammonia, this was already asked by someone and it was already answered. So examples like ammonia, and this is known as phosphine. It might be a new term for you. So this is like ammonia and here it's phosphine. Remember that nitrogen is more electronegative when compared to hydrogen. Phosphorus is more electronegative when compared to hydrogen. So hence they have to carry the negative oxidation number. And moreover, phosphorus also belongs to the nitrogen family itself. So in both the cases, here it's like nitrogen having -3. Here in case of phosphorus also, it will be having it as -3. So please remember these examples. Now the next one, tell me the oxidation number for this sulfur. In hydrogen sulfide, what will be the oxidation number for this sulfur? Good. Most of you are doing it well. Good. That's what. See here. Yes, hydrogen has two oxidation numbers. I've already specified as +1 and the other one to be as -1. Is nitrogen a metal over here, such that my hydrogen should have a negative oxidation state? No, right? As I'm finding the other elements to be more electronegative, my hydrogen will be having a positive one. So that's how you have to decide whether hydrogen is going to have plus or minus. Good. Most of you have answered it correctly. It will be as -2. So sulfur will be having it as -2. Okay, so here, can we call -3 as the oxidation state of nitrogen and magnesium nitride also? Yeah, that's correct. Here the oxidation number, oxidation state both falls same. So yeah, you can just say it that way too. Other example, hydrogen chloride, and I want you to tell me for chlorine. Good. Very good. So here I can just give you something as a note. So all these elements which are known as halogens, they are found to be more electronegative when compared to that of hydrogen. So make sure whenever they are combining with hydrogen, you are assigning a negative oxidation number to these elements. So definitely my chlorine will have it as -1 and hydrogen will be having it as +1. Similarly, try to answer for HF, fluorine. Okay, just try to answer for fluorine there. Good. Hydrogen fluoride. HF is known as hydrogen fluoride. Yeah, so yes, here it will be as -1. By the way, here you had nothing to even think about because fluorine is always having a fixed oxidation number and that is supposed to be as -1. And here similarly for HBr, Br will be having it as? What will be the oxidation number for that? Good, so finally, how to predict for hydrogen is something. See, always try to see relatively. First of all, we should have a very good idea about whether it is combining with metals or non-metals. So metals are more electropositive, hence they prefer to have a fixed positive oxidation state, whereas non-metals will be preferably having a negative one. So if non-metals are having a negative one, hydrogen will prefer to have positive in that case. And as metals will prefer to have a positive oxidation state, the hydrogen what you have considered should be having it as negative. So this is always relative that you have to consider. You can't say always as only halogens are electronegative. See, if at all you try to see a periodic table, the elements, the electronegativity is something which always increases across the period. So if you just keep on moving towards your right, those elements are found to be more electronegative. Yes, sometimes, but not always. Okay, so now try to answer for chlorine in HClO4. Okay, so here halogens are electronegative. Not only halogens, there are, okay, it's like oxygen, nitrogen, even these are electronegative. Okay, for this we really have to know like magnesium, sodium, all these are metals. See, all these are elements which will be having a specific property. So we have to know about that. Okay, this is a metal. See, iron. We know that iron is a metal. So all these are the general properties that we have to know about it. Now we can't assign that, okay, this has to be a metal and this has to be non-metal. It has been already assigned. So we have to know which is found to be as metal and which is the non-metal in that. Okay, try answering for chlorine. Good. Most of you are answering it correctly. No. No. That's no. Okay. Guys, again, please be specific with plus, minus, whatever you are trying to answer. Yeah, good. Yeah, so yes, most of you have answered it correctly. It will be as +7. So see here, hydrogen as here, I told you it's like only few exceptions we have like phosphine, ammonia, in which the cation will be present later and the anionic part is present first. Or else normally we'll find the cations will be present first and then we'll be having our anions. So here, hydrogen, okay, we didn't know for chlorine. So first of all, it will be as +1. Then it's plus X. Oxygen, each oxygen, the most common oxidation number for that is minus 2. So minus 2 into 4 is minus 8 is becoming equal to that of 0. So x will be going on the other side. It will be as plus 8 minus 1. So it will be as plus 7. So in this case, chlorine will be having plus 7. I think the one who asked that only halogens are supposed to be electronegative. No, it depends on the order. Please remember the most electronegative is fluorine. So always you have to first assign fluorine as negative oxidation state. Then it goes for oxygen. Then it goes for nitrogen. And then for the remaining elements of the halogen series. So please make sure immediately after fluorine, it's oxygen which is more electronegative. That's the reason I have assigned a negative oxidation number for this oxygen. And eventually a positive oxidation number goes for chlorine. So always it will be as relative. You can't say that it should always be a very fixed value. That's how we are saying. So I think I've already told you that whenever nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur and halogens are combining in a binary compound, they'll always have a fixed oxidation state. So is it not contradicting with whatever I told? Or can you give me a justification here? Yeah, that's true. It's never going to have it. Like till now, whatever the compounds we know, fluorine is only having -1 as the oxidation state. Yeah. I just now told you that few elements, like let me write here, nitrogen having -3, phosphorus having -3, sulfur having -2, halogens. Okay, halogens I'm just showing in terms of X. Halogens having it as -1. So this was the most common oxidation numbers we were getting whenever I was talking about binary compounds along with hydrogen or metal. But now, is it not contradicting with whatever is being told? Or can you give me an explanation for this? Good. Very good. Very good. So yeah, I can just make it out that you guys are really listening carefully now. Very good. Yeah. So you have already answered this. I have told that these rules are applicable only when it is a binary compound. Good. So it's only applicable for those binary compounds, whereas this is not a binary compound. Hence, yes. So what you have answered is correct. Yeah, whenever halogens will be having it as -1 oxidation number, then we call them as halides. That's correct. Okay, so moving ahead, we do have few exceptions too. So exceptions, FeS2. These are known as iron pyrites. So in case of this is a binary compound. Can you tell me what is the oxidation state of sulfur in this? Okay, what's the doubt now? Okay, shall I repeat for halogens? Okay, see halogens, we mostly talk about the four, that will be as fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. These are the four. We also have astatine in that, but as that is radioactive, we don't talk much about it. We just talk about these four halogens. So if they carry a negative charge, we say them as halides. So if it's fluorine, fluorine with negative charge is fluoride. If it's chlorine, chlorine with negative charge is chloride. So it'll be that way. Yeah. Now you can try answering the oxidation state for sulfur in iron pyrites. I can't see nothing. Okay, you can't see in display. You have to check your net connection. Guys, it's visible, right? The screen. Okay, thank you. Then you have to check your net connection. Just go back and then join again. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Yes. So yes, please remember that here we have got it as an exception, that here we are getting it as -1. See here, so iron will be having two common oxidation states that we already know is +2 and +3. +2 form is known as ferrous and +3 form is known as ferric. So in this case, as iron will be like +2 and sulfur will be as -1. Guys, let me make it little more easy for you. Please, in general, what we follow is first once whatever we are getting the first element in a particular compound, we normally find that to be as metal. Metal are the ones which will be usually having a positive oxidation state. And the other part, the anionic part, what we get is the one which should be carrying a negative charge. But as an exception, that is by convention, what we have got, the most common examples we have there is like ammonia and phosphine. Only like these are the most common examples where we are seeing that it's the negative part that is coming first and the positive is coming later. Or else normally, if moreover you are trying to work it out, please remember it's always the first one having a positive oxidation state and the other part having a negative oxidation state. So today we'll discuss all those questions. Yes. So we'll try to solve questions today. Take down this. So calculate the oxidation number of element underlined. So you have to answer for these. Okay, we'll answer one by one, or else I don't know what will be the order of yours to answer. So it's better that you try to answer for manganese and potassium permanganate. Because I didn't, okay, for iron in that case, you can't take it as +3 because I didn't write FeS3. I have written there as FeS2. So which shows that, okay, let me clear that. Let me go back to that slide. See here, iron here and sulfur here. Iron is having two oxidation states, and here, if as it is +2, and here something I didn't know. But only if I take it as -1, I'll get the compound what I have taken here. That will be as FeS2. If you would have taken here +3, will I be getting as FeS2? If I take +3 over here, definitely no, right? So that's how you have to really decide correctly whether I'm supposed to take their +2 or +3. Okay, I hope it's clear now. Good, it's only 2 who have answered. Guys, please, others are also supposed to answer. Good, most of you have answered now. Okay, for the second one, you are supposed to find it for carbon. Okay. Second one is really tricky again. So please focus there. Okay, first let me answer your the first one. That is potassium permanganate. See, here potassium is alkali metal, so it will always have a fixed oxidation number that will be as +1. As I don't know for manganese, I'll put it as X. Oxygen is in the form of oxide. So each oxide, as I have 4, so I'll first write it as +4. 4 oxygens are there. And each oxygen will be having the oxidation number to be as -2, which is equal to 0. If you just solve this, I'll get my X value to be as +7. So manganese will be having the oxidation number to be as +7. Okay. The ones who are trying to answer this, please also take care of CCl4. Good. Most of you have got it correct. Good. Really good. But please, the second one is really tricky to, so try to think once and then try to answer. Yeah. I want you to answer for both second and third one. You can write two oxidation states. I'll understand you have answered the first one, then you have answered for the second one. Oh, how are you getting it as 1.7? Please check it out again. Oh, first one is 7. Yeah, that's fine. Good. Okay. Okay, let me give you another hint over here. In both these two questions, it's definitely not the same sign. It's definitely not the same sign. See, I've already answered this. So oxidation state and oxidation number. See, mostly we'll synonymously be using these two terms. But actually, the major difference that we find here is the oxidation number. More specifically, we'll try to use it for coordination compounds. Whereas these are for the elements, the oxidation state. And oxidation state is always an integer, either positive, negative, or 0. Whereas oxidation number, it can even be an integer or fraction. So that's the major difference that we have. Got such a big number. We definitely can't get such a big number. I hope it's clear now. Okay, so now let us check who all have got it correct. I think most of you have answered. So shall I answer now? Okay, you are still answering. Okay, fine. So now let me answer this. Yeah, so in case of methane, see again, it's an exceptional case that we have got it in case of methane. So in case of methane, hydrogen will be having a positive oxidation number, whereas carbon is going to have it as -4. Whereas in CCl4, see, halogen is more electronegative than carbon. So halogen is going to get it as -1. So my carbon should get it as +4. So this is the answer. Yeah, you can also try to answer for this. Let's try to answer for these two. Okay, so your fourth question is, you have to find it for carbon and carbon dioxide, whereas carbon in graphite and carbon in diamond. You have to tell me the oxidation numbers here for these three. Good. No, just check it out. Check, check. See, when you're trying to answer, it'll be better you try to answer for all the three. You can just put comma, comma, and then I can understand that you have answered for the three. Fourth, fifth, and sixth, you need not mention me the numbers. You can just give me the three oxidation numbers for the other three respectively. Yeah. You can just try to answer that. Fine, so I'll just wait for another minute and then I'll answer it. Okay. Still many are supposed to answer. Good. Fine, so I think it's time that I should answer. Yeah, so in this case, as oxygen is more electronegative, it will be having it as -2, and here carbon is going to have it as +4. Yeah. Whereas see here we have to apply the first rule that we have studied for calculation of oxidation number. What is that? That if at all I'm taking a particular element in its exactly, yeah. So if at all we are taking an element in its standard state or in its elemental form, so the oxidation number that will be assigned to that is 0. So you need not even do much. It's just directly as 0. Good. Fine. So the next ones. Answer for chromium in potassium dichromate. So just answer for this first. So that is chromium. Answer for chromium in potassium dichromate. Good. Most of you are doing it well. Yeah, you have got it correct. Please calculate x, not 2x. Yeah. So that you will get the correct answer. Good. No. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So most of you have again got it correct. So how we have to do is again potassium having a fixed one. So it will be as +1 into how many potassiums do we have? That is 2. So other one, please be careful as we don't know the oxidation number of chromium. I'll take it as x, but x has to be multiplied with 2, right? Because I have 2 atoms of this chromium. And plus 7 into -2, this whole thing should be equals to 0. So here I'm finding by 2x and here it's -14 and here +2. So you'll get it as -12, which goes on the other side. I'll get it as +12. So your x will be as +6. So the oxidation number of chromium in potassium dichromate is +6. Now the next one, okay, next two, you try to answer for both. This is sodium thiosulfate. Sodium thiosulfate. Can you try to name this? Someone who knows the name of this. Na2S4O6. Try naming that. No one? Sodium sulfoxide? No. No. Good. One has answered it correctly. Good. Good, but still you guys are really trying well. Yeah. So okay, you still wanna try? Okay. Someone else has also answered it. Now most of you are answering it correctly. Good. Yes, so it is sodium tetrathionate. Good. Yeah, so your question is you have to calculate the oxidation number of sulfur in these two. Good. Most of you have answered it correctly again. Hopefully you have not used internet and then answered all this. Anyways, just make sure that you are learning. Okay. Yeah, most of you are getting it correctly. Good. But still there are many to answer. Yeah, sodium has to be taken as +1. But I want you to answer for the sulfur. Yeah. Check out. Okay, now I think it's time for us to answer. So in this case, see, sodium is anyways fixed having +1 as the oxidation state there and +1 into 2. So I'll get it as +2. And here as I don't know for sulfur, I'll take it as we have 2 atoms of sulfur, it will be as 2x minus -2 into 3. So that will be as 6, which is equals to 0. So we'll get it as 2x is equals to +4. So our x value is +2. So in this case, sulfur is having the oxidation number as +2. But whereas in sodium tetrathionate, so here it will be +2. Then it is plus 4x minus 6 into 2, that will be as 12, which is equals to 0. And here 4x will be equal to +10 and x will be equals to +10 by 4, which is 5 by 2, and we'll get it as 2.5. So you can see that it's not always having an integer value. It can also have a value which is a fractional value. So it will be as 5 by 2. Yeah. So moving ahead, what's the name of this? Now I'll give you 3-4 questions at a stretch. First you try to name this. Thiosulfate will be S2O3 minus 2 and tetrathionate is S4O6 minus 2. Okay. Thiosulfate is S2O3 minus 2. Tetrathionate is S4O6 minus 2. Good. Yeah, I'll just answer. Okay, so the name what you have answered is correct. That is oxalic acid. Yeah. No, you have to check it out. No, it's not that. Yeah, it's oxalic acid. In this, you have to calculate for carbon. Here, it's sulfuric acid. You have to calculate it for sulfur. Can you try to name this? First of all, it's not an ion. So don't end it with IDE. Yeah, that is also correct. Yeah, oxalic acid. Yeah, it is also known as ethane dioic acid. Even that is correct. Good. So it's only one who has answered all the four till now. Yeah, that is correct. It is as hypochlorous acid and the other one to be as chlorous acid. Most of you are going wrong. Please do it again. Good. No. Okay, so I think it's time for me to answer. Okay, you're still answering. Guys, please put it as plus, minus. Don't just give the numbers. Okay, so see here, in case of oxalic acid, which is also known as ethane dioic acid, yeah, so here it will be plus 1 is the oxidation state of hydrogen. So plus 1 into 2, so I'll get it as 2, like that is plus 2, and here it will be as plus 2x, and minus 2 into 4, that will be as minus 8, which is equals to 0. So here 2x is equal to plus 6 and x will be equals to plus 3. So hence here carbon will be having it as plus 3. Yeah, good. Most of you are still answering. Yeah, so here in this case it will be as plus 3. So in case of sulfuric acid, so hydrogen will be having it as plus, so it is plus 2. Yes. And here 1 sulfur, so it's only plus x, minus 8 is equals to 0. So x is equals to, I'll get it as plus 6. So here in this case, sulfur is having as plus 6 and here carbon was having it as plus 3. Coming to this hypochlorous acid, it will be as plus 1, then it's plus x, minus 2 is equals to 0. So in this case, we are going to get it as plus 1. Whereas in chlorous acid, it is plus 1 plus x minus 4 because it's 2 into 2. So it's minus 4 which is equals to 0. Hence here I'll get it as plus 3. Okay, what's the doubt here? Yeah, it's again taken in the standard state, so we can still say it as 0. Yeah. So here itself, the other two you can try to answer. This will be as chloric acid and perchloric acid. These two are very easy. You can just try to answer it as soon as possible. Today I'll also give you some homework. So just remind me the last 5 minutes. I'll give you some homework and you are supposed to answer it by next class. Hydrogen will always keep on changing the sign. Yeah, hydrogen does keep changing the sign. That's the reason we have specified it to be having sometimes as plus and sometimes as minus. So it's fine. Like with practice, you will get to know which one should be having it as plus, which one should be as negative. Why means, okay, see why the reason here, yeah, those 15th compounds, okay, 15th group elements are known as pnictogens. So if you want to know the name, it will be as pnictogens. Whereas 16th will be as chalcogens, 17th are halogens, 18th will be as noble gases or inert gases. I hope you got the name. Okay, so see here, so the one who asked, like why hydrogen? See, hydrogen always shows an anomaly with its position. It has few characteristics of that of alkali metals, which is making it to have +1 oxidation state. And the other form that we are finding for hydrogen is it is also found to be similar to that of halogens. So being similar to that of halogens means it should have it as -1. So that's the reason hydrogen keeps on changing its oxidation number to be as +1 sometimes and sometimes as -1. Okay, I should repeat the name. Okay, better I'll write the names. Okay, so yeah, after this, I'll give you few questions for homework. Okay, you want me to answer the name of 15th question compound. Okay, this is perchloric acid. This is perchloric acid. This is chloric acid. Okay, so yes, in this case, we'll find it as +5 and here it will be as +7. Good. There is no other way to name these compounds. So these are very important compounds. You just, with practice, you can just learn naming these compounds. Yeah. So the ones who wanted me to name all those, okay, let me name the common ones. So 15th group elements have a common name that we say it as pnictogens. You can just have these as your notes. And 16th group will be having common names that will be as chalcogens. Whereas 17th group will be having it as halogens. And 18th, we know it very well. These are noble gases or inert gases. I'll give you homework. I'll give you some 10 questions for which you have to determine the oxidation number. Similarly, we'll discuss the answers in the next class. I'll give you the questions. Once you are done with this slide, please let me know. I'll give you the questions now. Okay, I can actually start giving you the homework here itself. Yeah, I'm not changing the slide. I'll start giving it here itself. So how many questions are possible? I'll just give it here. It's N2H4. And just two more. What else? Okay, these are your homework questions. And the ones who have finished, they can leave the session. We are done for the day. Please complete your homework. And whatever doubts you have, you can ask me in the next class. We'll discuss the answer. Yeah, welcome. Okay, if you want me to show some specific slide, I'll just show you. Okay, fifth one is Cl2O7. Yeah. Yeah, it's correct. It's not NH3, it's HN3. This is known as hydrozoic acid. Eighth one is N2H4. Ninth one is HMnO4. That is manganic acid. Yeah, you can leave. Yeah. Permanganic. Yeah. You can leave. If you are done, you can leave. If you want me to show some specific slide, I can just show you that. Yeah, welcome. How to remember all these names? It will require a lot of patience, and through practice, you will get it. Yeah, try to think over it. If I answer for that, it will be like I'm answering. Everyone will get to know the answer now. As it is a homework question, please try to think over it. Yeah. Okay. Welcome. What is the fifth one? Okay. Element. Yeah, mostly we'll find the positive element coming first. Fifth one is Cl2O7. Yeah. No, we don't have any common names for the other ones. We just say it as like carbon family, as the first element is carbon. Yeah, you definitely need to know all this for your NEET. Ma'am, is this the positive element will come first? Yeah, mostly that's what the positive element comes first. No, it's not always the same. If you just go back and listen to the class that what I gave it for the last session, it's not the same, and mostly it is the same. Examples here, if it's like Fe3O4, in that we can divide Fe3O4 as FeO and the other one to be as Fe2O3. So the oxidation state of ion in that case is +2 and +3. But the oxidation number will be the average of what I have taken. You can write what, no. Please write it this way. That's the most stable form to write it as N2H4. Okay, I want to give you a question here. Please try to calculate the oxidation state for both the cases. Both as N2H4 and even NH2. Then you'll realize. It's definitely not going to be the same. See, in one question we have got that was tetrathionate. It was 2.5. So that was the oxidation number. We don't say that to be as oxidation state. But if you just try to check out for the each sulfur one, individual sulfur was having it as like +6, +6. So it depends on the structure there. Why are we using same method for finding both? Same method here means, what's the exact question you want to frame here? Can you elaborate your question? So just 1 minute, a last question, and then it will be done.
You can raise your hand if you want.
Yes, sir.
A student can raise their hand. Instead of typing, it takes time. They can raise the hand, and then I'll unmute them, and then they'll ask.
Okay, it's that way. Like most have anyways asked, and I have answered everything. It's the last one. If they can ask me in more detail form, I can just answer it out. Okay, so finding for oxidation number, it's better to go with structure. And structure will be not that easy to determine for these. We'll just go ahead in the other classes to go ahead with these structures and then determine the oxidation number and oxidation state. It's not that easy to find the oxidation state for each element by this method. For that, you definitely have to know the structure. Yes, sir. I guess I'm done.